Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Paul's Perspective with me, Paul from Paul Reacts, your favourite kind of gun-wearing YouTuber. And in this episode we're going to be taking a trip down memory lane. Who doesn't like a trip down memory lane? Nostalgia! You can tell I'm wired right now. So today's performance includes a man by the name of Michael Grimm. Now for those of you who think that name rings a bell, because it should do, he is a man that went and auditioned for America's Got Talent and ending up winning. Now for me, I only came across him by accident on Spotify whilst I was looking for some weird and wonderful music. This was months ago. By the way, and I came across this Michael Grimm performance, and I hadn't heard of him up until that point, but I immediately started watching more and more of his performances after coming across a rendition of I'd Rather Go Blind, famous, wonderful Etta James song, and he blew me away with his rendition. It was so soulful, and I just had to go and find some more performances, and I've been watching them like I say, over the last couple of months, and I've come across this performance, and it's by it's a song originally, I suppose, mainly made famous by Ray Charles. It's called You Don't Know Me. Wonderful, wonderful song. I love Ray's version, love what he does with it, and when I found out that Michael Grimm had made a rendition of it, I just had to watch it, and that's what I'm going to do tonight with you guys. So I hope you a fan of soul as much as I am. I love a good raspy, soulful, gospel kind of voice, especially in male vocals. So let's see what he does with it. It is a live performance, so he is backed up by a band. There's a live audience there as well. So yeah, let's get right into it without further ado. So kick back and relax, grab yourself a drink, and let's listen to see what Michael Grimm does with a bit of Ray Charles and You Don't Know Me.
You give your hand to me, and then you say hello, and I could hardly speak. My heart is beating so, and anyone can tell. You think you know me well, you don't know me.
Can you guys see now why I love this guy so much vocally? He is so soulful. You know, the image, he is just uber cool, calm, collective, suave is a good word to use. He is just so composed up on that stage. You know, there is a live band behind him. You know, there's a live audience there as well. Before watching sort of like this performance that we're watching sort of like blindly, there was a nice audience interaction moment where he goes to play to perform this song for the first time, and he gets put off by the audience member. You can clearly hear him say, I requested that he sang this, and it put him off, and there was this funny interaction. But, you know, no wonder it's so highly requested whenever Michael performs, because so far I am intrinsically hooked by the raspiness and the soulfulness in his voice. He's got such a range for soul. I can't wait to see what he does with the rest of this. This is wonderful so far.
No, you don't know the one who dreams of you and I, and longs to kiss your lips, and longs to hold you tight. Oh, I'm just a friend. That's all I've ever been. You don't know.
There's a very famous, I won't call it a technique, but a lot of soul singers do sort of practice this way of singing, where whenever they go to finish a particular sentence, you know, as sort of a particular lyric, get your teeth in, when they're finishing a particular lyric, they don't tend to complete the entire lyric into the microphone. They tend to tail off like away from it. So you'll see that, or you saw that you know, as he finished off the lyric, "You don't know me," he sort of tailed off towards the end of "no" and into the "me," so you can hardly hear the word "me" at the end because he's basically away from the microphone. Very, very common technique with soul singers. Very effective in a way, because it's almost as if that's his way of saying that he's feeling the emotion of the song, that he's almost composing himself, but we also know that he's leading into the bridge, so let's see what happens. But what I liked about that is, again, very, very common technique in a lot of singers, not just soul, is they don't actually, it doesn't sound like they're actually saying the word that they want to say. Just listen to this again. And I watch you walk away. The lyric is, "I watched you walk away," and it almost sounds like he's saying, "I watched you walk a weep," because of just the style of, you know, of the, whether it's the lip curl or, you know, whether he's, you know, preparing to go into the next you know, part of the performance. I don't know what it is that just leads performers to almost sound like they're saying a completely different word to what the actual lyric is. So we you know, for those that know the song, it is certainly "I watched you walk away," but then to hear it as "I watched you walk a weep," it makes me smile in a way, because, you know, I know what it sounds like, but for those that have never heard the song before, it's like, that makes no sense whatsoever. It just makes me, it's just a little observation, it makes me smile. Again, not finishing the entire lyric into the microphone, he tails off between "no" and "me." It's so easily done, you know. I've seen performers attempt this and it hasn't worked, and it's almost as if you don't even know where the microphone is. I know, so it can either be purposely executed and perfectly executed, or it can not pay off and not have the effect that you want it to have on the audience. But he is absolutely smashing this from top to bottom. Two things. Perks of having a backing band: you get to have a drinks break, just so you can reset the vocals, reset the position of the larynx, and gather yourself for when the instrumental ends. Second point is, I love the saxophone. It is the best instrument for me, hands down, because of how passionate and soulful you can turn a saxophone into if you know how to play it right. And this guy certainly knows how to play it right. It is already oozing soul, sexual sort of, I was about to say sexual innocence, and that's the biggest oxymoron I think I've ever created in the 26 years on this planet, but you know what I mean. It's a sexy instrument and he's making it sound soulful, sexy. wonderful instrumental that was, and what a wonderful saxophone solo. One thing that I did pick up during that instrumental that sort of like my eyes were drawn to it was, you see the panels on just in front of the drum kit would lead you to potentially believe that this was because obviously you've seen with the global pandemic that a lot of stages are sort of like socially distanced in that respect, but you can tell by the fact that none of the audience are wearing face masks or anything like this, and this isn't a recent performance. A lot of performers and a lot of bands will choose to have like a partition or a panel in front of the drum kit purely to heighten the sound and to into basically giving the best acoustics that they can potentially give, or because obviously you've got the microphones over the top of the drum kit as well, so it's just to give the best sound possible for the drummer to work with, because it's very easy, especially in a band that includes a saxophone and a bass guitar, a piano and things like that, for ironically the drums to be sort of drowned out. So by putting that panel in front of it, it contains the sound and heightens the sound as well.
Aches with a love for you. I'm afraid to shine and let my tears fall out. The tears that you might love me too. Oh, you give your hand to me. And then you say goodbye, and I watch you walk away beside that lovely guy. You will never ever know the one that loves you so. 'Cause you don't know me.
Whoa. Soul is so easy to attempt, and soul is incredibly easy to get wrong. This guy has got everything to do with soul spot on with that performance. It was passionate, it was sexy, it was emotional, it told a story, but the vocal ability to pull off those husky sustained notes in that respect, utterly genius from Michael. And I'm so glad that off the back of his success with America's Got Talent that he's gone on to sort of like host his own stage shows and things like that, and things that are going really well musically for him, and I couldn't be happier, because he has got what I would call a once in a generation kind of voice. He is a guy in the modern era with a voice that belongs in the 60s and 70s. I'm going to make a very bold claim here, and a lot of people potentially could disagree with me. He is, for me, vocally and soulfully on the same level as Otis Redding. And if you don't know who Otis Redding is, Google him, YouTube him, Spotify him. He is one of arguably the best male soul voice there is. Very, very difficult vocal range to replicate, and I think he is the closest thing to it. He is our 21st century Otis Redding right there with that performance. Wonderful. With that being said, thank you very, very much, guys, for joining me on this episode of Paul's Perspective. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I will certainly see you in the next one, but until then, take it easy.